Hi guys, I'm GAURI and I'm a legal intern at LEXIS and Company. I'm from Mumbai, Pune, and today's video is about contingent contracts. Now, what are contingent contracts? Before these questions, there are two types of contracts based on presence and absence of conditions. The first contract type is absolute contract. Here, in case where there is no condition, there are no condition, it is an absolute contract. And if there is a condition, this is known as a contingent contract. As there is no condition, absolute contract is to be performed under all circumstances. Now, contract means conditional contract. When imposed and condition is fulfilled, the contingent contract becomes valid and then parties have to perform their obligations. If imposed and condition is not fulfilled, the contingent contract becomes void and then it need not be performed. So, contingent contract is to be performed under some circumstances only. Now, there is an example. There is a contract between A and B, according to which A has to sell his goods which are in voyage to B. If the ship reaches the harbor safely, now what is the condition? If the ship reaches the harbor safely, so this is a contingent contract. If it does not reach safely, there is no contract, no contingent contract. Here, so now examples. What are the examples of contingent contracts? One, all the indemnity contracts. Guarantee contracts and insurance contracts are contingent contracts. Now, a definition by Section 31 of the Indian Contract Act. The contingent contract is a contract in which a promise is conditional and the contract shall be performed only on the happening or not happening of some future uncertain event. Yeah, don't confuse it with bets or something. It's not that. Uncertain events is not bets. Also, Section 31 of the Indian Contract Act defines contingent contracts as a contract to do or not to do something. It has to do and not to do something if some event collateral to such contract does or does not happen. Now, example, A contracts to pay B rupees 10,000 if B's house is burned. This is a contingent contract. If it does not burn, he'll not pay it. Simple. And if it burns, he will pay him 10,000 rupees. Now, what are the essential characteristics? The essential characteristics are there should be existence of a contingency, that is happening or non-happening of some event in future, and the contingency must be uncertain. Exact, right? The third, the event must be collateral, incidental to the contract. All right. Now, what are the rules regarding contingent contract? Number one, the contingent contract is based on happening and non-happening. So Section 32 provides that contingent contracts to do or not to do anything of any uncertain future event happens cannot be enforced by law unless and until that event has happened. And if the event becomes impossible, such contracts become void. It is based on happening or non-happening. If it's not happening, it's void. If it's happening, it's a contingent contract and it is enforceable. All right. Now, what are the examples? One of the examples is, for example, there's a person X. He makes a contract with Y to sell a horse to Y at a specified price. If C, to whom the horse has been offered, refuses to buy him, what is the condition? That if C does not buy the horse that X wants to sell, he will sell it to Y. The contract cannot be enforced by law unless until Ajay refuses to pay the horse. All right. Now, what is rule 2? Section 33 provides contingent contracts to do or not to do anything if any uncertain future event does not happen, can be enforced when the happening of the event becomes impossible and not before. And contract can be enforced only when happening of the event becomes impossible. Example, A agrees to pay B a sum of money if a certain ship does not return. The ship is sunk, the contract can only be enforced when the ship sinks and not before. Alright. Rule number 3. The contract upon future conduct of a living person, the contingent contract. According to Section 34, if the future contingent event consists of how a person will act at an unspecified time, that event shall be considered to have become impossible if such person does anything which renders it impossible that he should so act within any definite time or otherwise than under further contingencies. And the contract becomes void when such person does anything to make event impossible. You cannot do anything, it should be uncertain. Example, we have M who agrees to pay S a sum of money if S marries N. Now N marries P. The marriage of S and N must now be considered impossible, although it is possible that P may die and N may afterwards marry Sachin. But right now it's impossible. Rule 4, Section 35, it states that contingent contract to do or not to do anything in a specified uncertain events does not happen within a fixed time, may be enforced if the event does not happen or its happening become impossible before the expiry of the time. Example, M will pay A rupees 4,000 if a certain ship does not return within a year, 1 year, okay? The contract may be enforced if the ship does not return within a year or if the ship is burnt. It does not have to return, that's the rule. Section 35, that is contingent contract to do or not to do anything if a specified uncertain event happens within a fixed time. Becomes void if the event does not happen or its happening becomes impossible for the expiry of the time. Now, for example, R promises to pay S a certain sum of money. If train will arrive at its scheduled time, for example, the train has to arrive at 6 o'clock, 6 a.m. in the morning. So if it arrives at 6 a.m., then R will pay S certain sum of money. Now the contract may be enforced if train arrives at the correct time and becomes void if the train gets delayed or does not arrive at all or arrives before the time. Rule 5, contingent agreements do not do anything if an impossible event happens, are void whether or not the fact is known to the parties. This is section 36. Now, there's A who agrees to pay rupees 100 to B if two straight lines should enclose a space. They will never do it. This is an impossible event. Example, N agrees to pay 1,000 rupees to M if M will marry N's daughter P. Now P was dead at the time of agreement. This agreement is void. Okay, so I hope this video was clear. This topic is clear. For any comments or any questions, please let me know in the comment section. I'll reply to them as soon as possible. Also, this is a completely educational video. All right, guys. Thank you. See you in the next video. Bye bye.